Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a type of video on my channel that we don't do too often, and that is a book haul. Now this doesn't happen very often on my channel because, as a lot of you know, I am mainly a ebook reader as well as an audiobook listener. I do not read that many physical books, mainly because I live in a small terrace house in the north of England and I don't have that much room, unfortunately. So this book haul will have a few paperbacks that I am looking to read or I have read recently. As well as that though, we're then going to move on to some absolutely beautiful books. And really that's what happens with my book hauls from now, really, is I don't have that much room for my normal paperback books. If I want a normal paperback, I will probably just read it on my Kindle. However, if I see a series that I love and I see some beautiful editions, then maybe they might be coming into my home because they are worth the shelf space. So we're going to go in order of probably least pretty up to most pretty in terms of these books. So hang around to the end for some beautiful special editions. So the first of these books chronologically that I picked up was this one here, The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. This is a big chunky boy. This is a really big boy. It comes in at just over 800 pages, but it feels particularly thick even for an 800 page book. So this is a book that I picked up a few months ago on the recommendation of a few different booktubers who really loved it. They said it had a Lord of the Rings feel to it. It had that kind of tropey fantasy goodness. I know that Klaus over at the Contradictorian had a bit of a struggle with this, like it sort of contributed to a bit of a reading slump for him. So I'll see when I get to it. I'm not planning to read it immediately, but hopefully sometime in the next few months if I have room for a big chunky boy in my TBRs. The next sort of standard cheap paperback that I picked up is a book that I am actually currently in the middle of reading, which is interesting, and that is Turning Darkness into Light by Marie Brennan. This is a companion novel to the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. So this follows the granddaughter of our protagonist from the main series. I am currently, as of recording, 60 odd pages in, so not very far in, but quite enjoying it. This is just a bog standard old library copy, nothing too exciting, but I've been told that it works well in physical form. It is in an epistolary format, so it is basically full of diary entries and letters and journals and that kind of thing. So although I listened to the Memoirs of Lady Trent on audiobook, Kate Redding, by the way, does a great job with that. But I was told that it might help me to keep going and keep track of what's happening in this book if I had the physical copy. And I've definitely found that so far in the first 60 pages or so. I've enjoyed the epistolary format. It's something I've loved ever since I first read Dracula. I love the way that that is done there. And I think Marie Brennan is doing a really good job with it so far in Turning Darkness into Light. So the next one is probably a book you're going to laugh at me for having picked up a physical copy of. And this is partially because I ordered it as a physical copy with something that I had pre-ordered, and therefore it took a long time to get here. And as it was part of a readathon, I'd actually already listened to the audiobook of this by the time it got here. And that's probably a good thing. So this is The Emperor's Blades by Brian Stavely. This is book 1 of Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. I read this, or I listened to this on audiobook actually, as part of Alan's read along over at the Library of Alexandria. I didn't love it, but I think I probably enjoyed it more because I was listening on audiobook. I know lots of other people struggled with actually reading the physical copy of it. I think Simon Vance does a wonderful, wonderful job at doing the audiobook narration, and that really pulled me through. I still don't love it. There's a review for it down below if you go click on that. It's still not something I loved. It's something that I am hoping to continue the series at some point, but it's certainly not high up on my TBR anytime soon. Now the last of my paperbacks for this book haul is going to be something that I picked up on the recommendation of Angela from over at Literature Science Alliance, and this is 36 Streets by T.R. Napper. Now this is a cyberpunk thriller, and I have not read any cyberpunk before. It is not a genre I know anything about really. But I love this book. I picked it up about a week after I bought it and I tore through it in about 4 or 5 days. Really, really loved it. It has got super quick, short chapters. It really pushes you through. It's definitely got a thriller pacing to it, and I really love the cyberpunk like technological elements of it, and it's just a beautiful book. I love the colours on this cover. I really like the way that it's done. I think it's just really nice, and even inside I love even simple things. It's simple things like the way the chapters are done in this style with this vertical break. I just really love it. I really like it. It's a lovely little paperback book, and the story inside is wonderful. I gave it 4.5 stars in my review, which you can check out down below. This could easily end up as a 5-star read for me. It just is going to depend how it sits, how I think about it going forward, whether it really sits with me or whether I sort of forget about it as more of a thriller rather than something a little bit more thought-provoking. So now we're going to move on to the hardbacks. The first one of these is actually the thing I ordered. I pre-ordered along with the Emperor's Blades, and that's why the Emperor's Blades took so long to get here, because they came in the same package, and that is The Hunger of the Gods by John Quinn. Again, I have a review for this down below on the channel before. I again did not actually read that in this pre-ordered book. I read it on my eARC, so I got a Kindle version from the publisher to read and review early, and I absolutely loved it. I love John Quinn. He is one of my favourite authors, and even though I was hoping to get an ARC, I still pre-ordered the hardback because look at that cover. Look at that cover. And this goes so well. I'm going to cover up my face showing you these two. That goes so well with The Shadow of the Gods. It's just a really interesting set of covers, and I just really love them. They look so good together on the bookcase. So big fan of these from John Quinn. Beautiful books. This one in particular is signed by John Quinn. It came from the Broken Binding, and yeah, nice to have 2 signed copies of these first 2 books. If I can find it, there we go. 2 signed copies for the first 2 books of the Bloodsworn saga. I will definitely be getting a matching copy of the 3rd book of the trilogy when that comes out. So while we're on John Quinn, let's keep talking about John Quinn, and let's keep talking about the Broken Binding. Now, this is not an ad. This has not been anything. I don't know the Broken Binding particularly. I just really have enjoyed the special editions they've done. That's the only reason I'm showing you these. So in January, they sent me this one here, Malice, the special edition of Malice that the Broken Binding is doing. Their beautiful block coloured edges is awesome, and then this is signed and numbered, so I got the lucky number 280, which I really love. It's a good number, again signed by John Quinn. This is the first book of The Faithful and the Fallen, one of my favourite series, The Faithful and the Fallen. I absolutely love it. And then at the beginning of April they sent me this bad boy, book 2, Valor. Again, wonderful block sprayed edge, just really cool, signed and numbered again. And this is where I've got to in life, where I don't really get paperbacks anymore to read, because if I do, I'm going to read them on my Kindle, or I'm going to listen to the audiobook. And so I don't really have the shelf space to spare. So what happens instead is my shelf space is filled with these kind of things, and I am super excited for when Ruin and Wrath come out later in the year to make this matching set. It's going to be a beautiful set. Really love it. Now we're going to move away from John Quinn, but we are actually staying with the theme of the Broken Binding. So they have a sub box that you guys might have heard about, where every month they are releasing a special edition. They're trying to do trilogies at the minute, and the first one of these came through last month, and it is over here, and again it is beautiful. This is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie in hardback, with a really cool sprayed edge. The 3 of them together are going to make a beautiful set, and this is just absolutely beautiful. So there you go, signed by Joe himself, and this is going to be the first book I've got with this number. This isn't 280 like the Faithful and the Fallen, this is 437, so I'm going relatively early, and that's what all my numbers are going to be for these books. I just want to show you as well what this looks like once we take the dust jacket off, because that is, in and of itself, just absolutely beautiful. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Yeah, just a really beautiful book all round. I'm super excited to get the rest of the series. It's just absolutely beautiful. I really love these books. I love these special editions. There's just nothing more I can say about it than that. They are just absolutely beautiful. This is the kind of thing that is going to start filling my bookshelves, because I don't have space for every book I read, but I am going to have space for my favourites, and my favourites hopefully in really nice, pretty editions. So there you go. They're all the physical books that I have picked up in the last few months. Like I said, it's not a huge book haul because of the way my life is set up at the moment, but there are some really beautiful books in there. I would highly recommend these special editions if you like these series. They are just such good quality. I hope that's been interesting. I hope that's been fun. Let me know down below what your favourite book is that you've picked up in 2022 so far. Whether that's your favourite story or whether it's the actual physical book itself. Let me know down below what you've been loving owning so far this year. And do like this video if you've enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.